The one reason the Liberals are hopeless at fighting the culture wars is that they've put one of their few fighters in the freezer, Education Minister Alan Tudge. I mean, he managed to stop leftist academics completely hijacking a draft of our national curriculum, what children are taught in schools. But it's since been hidden away by the Liberals after his consensual relationship with a staffer, which he says did not involve sex, became a major scandal about nothing that also earned the staffer a reported $500,000 payout handed out by Finance Department bureaucrats. But Sky News reporter Jessica Maggio tracked Alan Tudge down today.
And why have you not made any appearance? Why have you kept a low profile during these final weeks of campaigning ahead of the election?
Well, I've been very busy in my local electorate here. You can see from my social media, and I stood down from being Education Minister some months ago now for family, for health reasons, and to concentrate on my electorate, and that's exactly what I've been doing. Are
you looking to maintain the ministerialship, however, for the election?
Well, the Prime Minister has made clear that should we be re-elected and I'm in a position to step back up, then I'll do so.
Now, while the cat's away, the mice will play. The final school curriculum has now been released, and yes, it is an improvement. A lot of peripheral stuff removed to make way for more basics, key maths concepts are now taught earlier. And there's finally a partial return to phonics in teaching English. A as in cat, at as in cat, and E as in bee, that kind of stuff. Yet, the woke stuff is still being smuggled in. Global warming is terrible. British settlement was a devastating invasion. Aboriginal history is deep time, and vegetarianism is good. And there are even lessons on exploring the students' ECO-IDENTITY. Joining me is Bella de Brera, Director of the Foundations of Western Civilization Program at the Institute of Public Affairs. Bella, always great to see you. First, explain this ECO-IDENTITY to us.
Andrew, it's actually a very difficult concept to explain because it's new to the national curriculum. And there's no actual explanation in the curriculum. They just require year 9 and 10 students to develop what they call an eco-identity. From what I can gather, it's based on a sort of green ideology, a sort of pagan green ideology that elevates nature above human beings. It's this idea that nature is good and human beings are evil. So I can tell you that, and I can also tell you what it's not. It's not encouraging school children to develop an identity based on family or being an individual or based on their community or based on their nation. So the worrying thing here is that we now have a new national curriculum which has green sort of ideology, pagan ideology, incorporated into the national curriculum, and it's been endorsed by Labour and Liberal state governments, as well as the coalition, as well as our federal government.
I can't believe it. I mean, here we get smuggled in. It is the start. It's a foothold for a new kind of green religion, as you say. It's a pagan thing, and I say that not as a Christian myself, but this is a pushing out of a sort of Christian worldview to a more green worldview. Now, instead of fighting transgender politics, though, Bella, I reckon the Morrison government should have fought something like this that affects every school child, preaching a leftist world view. Oh, have we lost Bella, have we? I'm so sorry about that. Look, we'll have...
You'll have to repeat the question.
Oh, Bella, I was just asking, the government should have been, instead of, fighting on the transgender issues, right, which affect few people and it hasn't prepared the ground for, it should have mounted a fight on a school curriculum that smuggles in a green ideology that affects millions of students.
Yes, look, this is the problem. The curriculum is mandated. It's obligatory for students from the minute they get to school, from prep to year 10. And what they learn in the curriculum is how they will think of themselves as Australians and as individuals. And as we've been saying for a long time now, the Conservatives have completely abandoned the culture wars. They've completely abandoned the culture to the left progressives. And now we've got a situation where we actually have this paganism in the national curriculum, which is extremely worrying for parents, and it really leads me to conclude that there is a fundamental flaw in having a national curriculum. I mean, how many versions have we had of the national curriculum have we seen so far? And have any of them been better? They're actually getting worse and worse. So, I would go so far as to say that it's such a deep cultural problem with the national curriculum that we need to abolish it altogether and hand the power and hand education back to the parents.
Oh, I think so too. I would so much like a child-centred funding model where you're given money for your child's education. You can go and send that child to whatever you like that suits you. Doesn't have to be in the state school system at all. Now, again, I asked, though, Bella, if the left wasn't funded by taxpayers, where would it be? Tell us about the taxpayer-funded Sydney Writers' Festival, which claims, falsely in my opinion, that this year's theme is Change My Mind, when in fact, when you look at the wall-to-wall leftists here, with just one exception, Greg Sheridan, it seems a festival of groupthink, intellectual sheep, reinforcement of prejudices, not challenging them at all.
Look, Andrew, this is, again, our taxpayers are paying for a particular worldview at the moment in our cultural life. And this Sydney Writers' Festival is just another example of a woke festival of all the things you can possibly imagine that they would want to talk about. It's social justice, it's racism, it's climate change, it's transgender issues, it's LGBTQ plus issues, all at the expense of the taxpayers. And of course, it is ironic that it's called Change My Mind, because I can guarantee that none of the organisers, none of the presenters, and not one of the attendees are going to this festival with the idea that their minds will be changed, because they've already made up their minds about what the world is. It's ridiculous to call it this. They should just be honest. And the point is, this kind of thing is not going to appeal to ordinary Australians. They're not going to go along and listen to this stuff. But yet we are continually being asked to pay for it. Yes. Yeah,
exactly correct. I mean, you're so right, as you put it in your excellent piece in The Spectator. I mean, a thing called Change My Mind that features Yasmin Abdel-Magid, whose most famous public intervention was to walk out of an address at another writers' festival, back when they used to invite contrarians, Lionel Shriver, because she couldn't bear to hear Lionel Shriver mock, the identity politics. That's her commitment to Change My Mind, is to walk out of a debate, not to have one, and try to learn something. Bella de Brera, thank you so much indeed for your time. What a joke our intellectual climate is.